Is this right?
Full screen.
Okay. College English, horrible study. My name is Kiljun Park. Okay. My story is very horrible story. Okay. I introduce my story. Okay. One day, one scientist made some people an object of a psychological study. Next is the experience plan. The experience method. First, two people are imprisoned in a small room. 2-3 days, provide food and cooking utensil to them. Notify them. They never escape there forever. Okay. Next. Until 6 days, observe them without a word. 7 days later, say to them, I changed my mind and blah 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 blah. Okay, I show that later. 4 days, special environment condition are not necessary, but summer is better. Okay. Incarcerated subjects are as in the following. First, the two persons are completely unrelated. Taxi driver or anybody. And second, couple or sweetheart. And third, close friend. That is my subject. Okay. You know that? Each case was done 3 times, total 18 people. The following is an experience process. Okay. First.
Finish.
Mr. Merriweather stopped to light a lantern, and then conducted us down a dark, old-smelling passage. We went down for a few minutes. Mr. Merriweather, we must put the screen over the dark lantern and sit in the dark? I'm afraid so. Enemy's preparations have gone so far that we cannot risk the presence of a light. Holmes shot the slide across the front of his lantern and left us in pitch darkness, such an absolute darkness as I have never before experienced. I placed my revolver, cocked, upon the top of the wooden case behind which I crouched. There was something depressing and subduing in the sudden gloom and in the cold. I finished.
Okay, very good.
Start. Here's one I heard on the radio from a woman who told her story. A few years ago. Oh. Sorry, it doesn't work. Can I do like just click this
I
one?
don't know, that's not earphone view.
Space 전체 Space.
Oh, okay. A few years ago, the woman and her family had just moved to a new house somewhere in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. One night, her baby son was crying, so she got out of bed and went to see him. But suddenly, the baby stopped crying. The woman knew that he must have fallen asleep, and she went back to bed. A few hours later, the baby cried again, so she got up and went over to check again. When she just took hold of the door handle, the crying subsided. As she opened the door with curiosity, she saw a boy, about 6 or 7 years old, calming the baby down. When he saw the woman, he disappeared. The woman was shocked and later told her neighbors what happened, and the neighbors already knew about the ghost and told her that there was a boy who died from an illness about 80 years ago and was buried under the exact place where her baby son's room is. It's all. Thank you.
Wow, nice.
One night, a woman and her boyfriend were on their way to home. Suddenly, their car ran out of gas in the middle of the road. It was about 1 in the morning and they were completely alone. The guy stepped out of the car, saying comfortingly to his girlfriend, "Don't worry, sweetie, I'll be right back. I'm just going to go out for some help," though locked the door tightly. "But I'm so scared." "It'll be okay." She locked the doors and sat restlessly, waiting for her boyfriend to come back. Suddenly, she sees a shadow fall across her lap. She looks up to see, not her boyfriend, but a strange, white-masked man. He is swinging something in his right hand. He comes to the car. He sticks his face close to the window and slowly pulls up his right hand. In it is her boyfriend's decapitated head, twisted horribly in pain and shock. She shuts her eyes in horror and tries to make the images go away. When she opens her eye again, the man is still there, giggling psychotically. He slowly lifts his left hand, and he is holding her boyfriend's keys to the car. Thank you.
Nice.
These days, people say do not walking the street alone in the night. It's so dangerous society. But there is no choice for us because our school always be finished at the dim night. So I always go back to home alone. One day, on ordinary day, I entered to my apartment and get into the elevator. Pressing the button, 13th floor as same as every common days. At the moment of the elevator closing, someone reopened the door and he presses the 12th floor button. And he said, "There is no people at 13th floor, isn't it?" I saw there are no lights. I felt very scary and panicked. I was trembled for fear. Then he gets off at 12th floor. I think it's a mercy when I got to the 13th floor. At the moment, a guy's voice reaches my ears. He said, "Isn't it strange? There is no sound when I got off the elevator. Sounds like opening the door or pressing the door password. If I am a murderer or kidnapper, you could be in big trouble now. You should be careful next time, especially you are alone." I sit on the ground and felt very horrible. I don't know who he is. He could be just a resident. But one thing is clear. The downstairs. There is no sound yet.
Good.
Finish.
Okay, good.
A young man invited a young woman to a formal dance, but she was very poor. And she could not afford to buy the evening dress she needed for such an occasion. "Maybe you can lend a dress," her mother said. So she went to a pawn shop not far from where she lived. There she found a white satin evening dress in her size. She looked lovely in it, and she was able to rent it for very little. When she arrived at the dance with her friend, she was so attractive, everyone wanted to meet her. She danced again and again. She was having a wonderful time, but then she began to feel dizzy and faint, and she asked a friend to take her home. "I think I have danced too much," she told him. When she got home, she lay down in her bed. Next morning, her mother found that her daughter had died. The doctor did not understand what had caused her death, so she had the coroner perform an autopsy. The coroner found that she had been poisoned by embalming fluid. It had stopped her blood from flowing. There was traces of the blood on her dress. She decided it had entered the skin when she perspired while she was dancing. The farm worker had said he bought the dress from an undertaker's helper. It had been used in a funeral for another young woman, and the helpers had stolen it just before she was buried. That's all.
Okay, well done. It's this red one here. Volume. Not so loud. Okay, very nice.
Sam Louis spent the evening playing chess at his friend's house. It was about midnight when they finished their game, and he started home. Outside, it was ice cold and as quiet as the grave. As he came around the turn in the road, he was surprised to see a woman walking ahead of him. She was carrying a basket covered with a white cloth. When he called up to her, he looked to see who it was, but she was so bundled up against the cold, it was hard to see her face. "Good evening," Sam said. "What brings you out so late?" But she didn't answer. Then he said, "May I carry your basket?" She handed it to him. From under the cloth, a small voice said, "That's very nice of you." Sam was so startled that he dropped the basket, and out rolled a woman's head. He looked at the head, and he stared at the woman. "It's her head," he cried, and he started to run, and the woman and her head began to chase him. Soon the head caught up to him. It bounded into the air and sank its teeth into his left leg. Sam screamed with pain and ran faster, but the woman and her head stayed right behind. Soon the head leaped into the air again and bit into his other leg. Then they were gone. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice. Let's have somebody from this table. Rock, paper, scissors. Somebody from this table. Next.